Picture the best-fed AI system your institution could build. Every table, every field, a flawless data warehouse behind it. Now give it one real job, watch it freeze. An anti-money laundering analyst opens an alert, a pattern of deposits that might be structuring, small amounts, just under a reporting threshold. The instruction to the AI is simple: disposition this alert. And the AI has everything. Every transaction, every account, the customer's full history instantly. It is the best-fed AI you could ask for. And it cannot do the job. It can tell you the deposits happened. It cannot tell you how your institution dispositions an alert like this, the steps, the checks, the escalation path, and it certainly can't tell you whether it is allowed to close the alert on its own. It knows the facts. It does not know the work, and it does not know the rules. Facts alone are not enough. Last episode, the argument was that the model is not the constraint. Everyone can buy the same frontier intelligence. The advantage comes from your institutional knowledge, compounding, under governance. That was the why. This episode is the what. What is that institutional context actually made of? 3 kinds, and they are inseparable. Knowledge, what's true. Expertise, how the work is actually done. Norms, what's permitted. Our frozen AI was missing 2 of the 3. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to take any piece of institutional context and say which kind it is, and why you can't drop a single one. Start with knowledge, the authoritative map of the business. This is what lets a person and an AI agree on what a thing means. It's your critical data elements, your CDEs, the data points the institution treats as material. It's your metric definitions, your enterprise data dictionary. It's the hierarchies, which counterparty rolls up to which parent, which accounts belong to which customer. And your product taxonomies. Make that concrete. Take the term committed exposure. Ask 3 desks what it means and you may get 3 answers. Does it include the undrawn portion of a revolving facility? Does it net collateral? As of trade date or settlement date? Until the institution has one agreed answer, an AI can retrieve a number called committed exposure and have no idea which of those it actually is. It would be interpreting a figure it cannot correctly interpret. Knowledge is the layer that pins meaning down. Remember committed exposure. It follows us through the whole series. And here's the reassuring part. This isn't a new discipline you have to invent. You already run it. It's the same discipline behind Risk Data Aggregation Expectations, BCBS 239, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision's principles. Data that is accurate, complete, traceable, and built on agreed definitions. That's exactly what knowledge in a context graph demands, and exactly what an AI needs before it can be trusted to read a number and know what it's reading. So, what's true? That's one of 3. Now, how the work is done. Second kind, expertise, how work is actually performed. Not what's true, but the steps, the desktop procedures, the runbooks, the playbooks. The month-end close, the exception handling steps in loan servicing. And the one we opened with, the alert disposition workflow in an AML investigation. Go back to that frozen AI. It had every fact about the deposits. What it lacked was this. The sequence: pull the customer's risk rating, check prior alerts, review the transaction pattern against expected activity, decide, escalate to a case, or close with a documented rationale. That sequence is real expertise. It's how your institution actually operates, and most AI projects assume the data implies it. It doesn't. The data tells you what happened. Expertise tells you what to do about it. Hold onto that alert disposition workflow too. Like committed exposure, it comes back. Now the uncomfortable part. Where does this expertise actually live today? In a procedure document, last updated 3 years ago. In the ticket history, in chat threads, and, most of all, in the heads of a few long-tenured people who simply know how the alert gets dispositioned because they've done it 1,000 times. Internal audit has a name for that last one. Key person risk. When the procedure exists only in someone's head, it walks out the door when they do. AI adoption makes that acute. You can't hand a procedure to a system if no one wrote it down. We'll come back to turning that risk into encoded resilience in episode 7. For now, just mark it. Expertise is real, and today it's fragile. Third kind, norms. The rules of permissible action. Not what's true, not how the work is done, but what the institution is allowed to do. Your policies and standards, your entitlements, who is permitted to see and touch what, your approval matrices, which actions need a second signature, segregation of duties, the requirement that the person who initiates can't also be the one who approves, and your regulatory obligations, which data is confidential, privacy rules under the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, the GLBA, cross-border restrictions on what can move where. Back to our alert one more time. Even an AI that knew the facts and the procedure still hits a wall here. Is it authorized to close an AML alert by itself? In almost every institution, the answer is no. That's a decision a person owns, with a documented rationale and the right approval. Norms are what tell the AI to stop at that gate. This is the heart of norms. They don't just say what's forbidden. They tell an AI system what it is authorized to do, and, just as important, when a human must remain in the loop. Inside the boundary, the AI can move. At the boundary, a high-risk action, a final disposition, anything that binds the institution, it drafts, and a person approves. That phrase, AI drafts, humans approve, is a thread through this entire series. It's how we keep what regulators call effective challenge, a human accountable for the decision. Norms are where that line gets drawn. So that's the three. Now, why can't you have just one or two? Here's why these three are inseparable, not a menu, a set. Take data without definitions. You have the numbers, but no agreed meaning. The AI retrieves committed exposure and can't tell you which exposure it is. The data is uninterpretable. Flip it. Definitions without data. A beautiful dictionary, every term defined, agreed, traceable, but nothing behind it. You described a bank that no one can actually query. And both without procedures. Say you have the data and the definitions. You described a bank perfectly, and you still can't operate it because nothing tells the AI how the work is done or whether it's allowed to act. Knowledge, expertise, norms. Drop any one, and the whole thing stops doing real work. Let's put all three on one screen. The alert we started with, now done right. Knowledge gives the AI the facts and the agreed meanings, this customer, these accounts, these 11 deposits, and the institution's agreed definition of the threshold and the pattern. Expertise gives it the workflow. Pull the risk rating, check prior alerts, compare against expected activity, assemble the case the way your investigators actually assemble it. Norms set the boundary. The AI may draft the disposition, the narrative, the recommendation, but a qualified person, with the right entitlement and segregation of duties intact, approves the close. 3 lenses, 1 alert. That's an AI doing real work inside the rules. Take away any ring and it freezes again. So let's name the misconception this episode kills. It sounds like this: context is just retrieval over documents. Point the AI at the policy library, do good search, retrieval augmented generation, RAG, and you're done. No. Retrieval over documents gives you prose about the bank. It hands the model a stale procedure PDF and a policy written for a human reader, and hopes. Context is 3 structured categories. What's true, agreed, not just findable. How the work is done, the procedure, not a document describing it. What's permitted, the actual entitlements and approvals, enforceable, not a paragraph. Knowledge, expertise, norms. More documents is not more context. Where we are. Episode 1, the model isn't the constraint. Episode 2, here. The context that is the differentiator comes in 3 inseparable kinds: knowledge, expertise, norms. But 3 lists side by side still isn't enough. The value isn't in the 3 categories, it's in how they connect. Next time, why it has to be a graph. 3 kinds of context. All required, none optional. Next, we connect them.